The majority of the time when people come to do the lay in the draw strategy, you want that goal in the first half. There is no doubt about it. You know you need a goal in the first half to be able to get yourself some profit. There's a little bit of a minuscule opportunity in the second half, in between the second half kicking off and you waiting for the odds to drop to an exit point. But for the majority of the time, you want a first half goal. So that brings up the question then. If you're waiting for a first half goal, and that's what you're planning for, that's what you're researching for, why don't you just trade the draw in the first half? And that's what we're going to be looking at today. So if you enjoy strategies like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the like button. Let me know down in the comments if you've got any other recommendations for strategies I should give a go to. You've left lots of recommendations in the past, and I'm looking at them all in quite some depth now. So we'll be going over them in the not too distant future. But make sure you hit the subscribe button while you're down there. Leave a comment and a like, it really does make the world a difference. But let's get into it. So if we just take a quick look at some examples over here, then we can see from this example from the Portugal-Czech Republic game, you can see that the draw's at 5.6. Now, I'm not using this as any sort of recommendation on what you should filter the price down to, what odds you should use or anything like that. This is just a blanket look at this. I'm going to show you 3 or 4 examples, some of making profit, some of making loss, and then I'm going to show you some of the other results we've got from this strategy as well before we come back in 3 months time. And don't worry, I've already got the video date penciled in. We're going to be looking at this strategy middle of the way through September. I'm going to do it on as many games as I can find between now and then, so we're going to have a big collection of data to look at when it comes to September, so make sure you stick around for that one. But if we just take a look here, if we were laying the draw on this Portugal-Czech Republic game, you can see we'd be risking £46 liability for £9.80 worth of profit. That's just in the normal laying the draw market. But then if we head over to the half-time market, you can see you get that same £9.80 profit if it gets hit. We only need £17.60 liability, so it massively reduces the liability. There is obviously that increased risk coming with this, because you do then need that first half goal, but you can see here, it does really help with that reduced liability. Now the key thing to note when you're doing laying the draw at half time, which is what this video is all about, is that there isn't really going to be an exit point. It is pretty much going to be a set and forget style of strategy, because if the game finishes, or if the half finishes at 0-0, that's the point where you'll lose money, but there isn't really a section where you trade out with this one. When it's full time, I'll wait for the odds, the back odds to drop to 2.0 and I'd exit the trade. But when it comes to the half time strategy, the amount of late goals that come in the first halves, it is generally just better to leave that to run out. Now that isn't that big of an issue because of that reduced liability. So if we, for example, take a look at this and say we were placing a full time laying the draw strategy on this match, you can see from this laying the draw calculator over here, if we just take a look, we'll be going in at odds of 5.6 with a £10 stake, and we'd be waiting till we get to them back odds of 2 before we exit. So if it's a losing trade for the full-time strategy, we'd be losing £18.60, which then when you compare it to the first half strategy, you can see we'd be losing £17.60. So realistically here, when we look at the laying the draw full-time and the half-time strategy, the only real downside is them extra 10-15 minutes in the market when you might be able to get the profit in the second half, because the loss is roughly the same depending on the lay odds obviously, but roughly the same for a losing trade, the same for a winning trade the majority of the time. The only issue you've got is them extra 10-15 minutes in the market. Just to show you another example of this, then you can see Norway-Slovakia, or Norway-Slovenia I should say, odds of 5.2, you're risking £42 to get that £9.80 back after commission, and then at half time you can see we're risking £16.20 to then get that £9.80. Now there is a few more issues and caveats with the strategy that I'm going to get into in just a second, but if I just show you one more example here, you can see Greece-Cyprus, £58 liability in the normal match odds category as opposed to £18.40 at the half time mark. Taking a look at this Greece-Cyprus one in a bit more detail then, just because this is one where I've recorded what the score was during the game, you can see that we would have got in to the main market at 6.8 odds, which is awful odds for laying the draw. I'd never recommend that, but this is just an example at the end of the day. So you can see 6.8 odds up there. Then when a goal came, the odds shot up to 13.5, as you'd expect, or that's at the half-time market I should say. If we look at the normal market, you can see it's up to 15.5. So if we come back over the calculator, put in that 15.5 back odds, you can see we'd be making £5.50 profit there from an instant cash out, which is a very nice little return. But if we just compare that over here to the profit we would have made from the half-time selection, you can see we would have made an extra couple pound profit there. So there is more reward the majority of the time when you use that laying the draw in the half-time, and it does also have a few extra benefits, so let's get into them. So if I just get up this tab over here where you can see this is where I'm starting to keep track of the laying the draw, the half-time stage and the full-time stage for a few different selections, and I'm going to keep this going, hopefully get a couple hundred results to show you in the next video. So you can see this is the half-time section. In the 8 games we've had 3 go to half-time at 0-0. You can see in 2 cases here the away team took the lead, which is normally a big no-no because you normally want the home team to be the favourite and you want them to score first. But you can see here in all 3 instances there was still profit. Basically, when you're doing it at half-time, any goal gets you a profit the majority of the time. There will be some instances where a really early goal might not do that, and you might still then have the favoured draw result coming through. But you can see here, in every one of the games where we've had a goal, we've had that profit come through. But you can see at the end of them 8 trades, we would be £4.33 down, and that is because of the strike rate that's letting us down at the moment. Looking at the exact same games though in the full-time market, you can see that we only had 2 games that let us down, and that is because this game here, that finished 0-0 in the first half, in the actual full-time market, had a goal come quite early on in the second half. So it was triggered before we got to that 2.0 exit point, meaning we would have got a profit on the trade in the other market. So you can see from this instance we're actually £9.47 up, whereas at the half-time market we're actually at a loss. So there is already there a slim advantage to using the full-time market, but you can see here the profits for these 2 games were a combined £3.41, whereas at the half-time market it was £11.56. So there does seem to be, if you can get the strike rate to match both trades, so for example if we got rid of this trade in the middle here for both instances, so we take off that 60%, you can see that we would have made £5 in the full-time market and we would have made £6 in the half-time market. So there's a slight edge when the strike rate matches, but obviously that's one of the bonuses of going in the full-time market, because you have that extra 10-15 minutes and second halves can normally start off quite lively. But one thing that is key to note when it comes to the half-time market is the liability or the liquidity that is available in the actual market. It is pretty much non-existent in any game that isn't a major game. If, for example, we load up football over here, you can see the one that has the most money on is Botafogo versus Sao Paulo later on. It's got £84,000 matched in the match odds market. But if we come down here to the half-time market, you can see it's drastically reduced and it's only got £178 matched. So it is going to be a struggle there in instances to get that half-time matched. But if you're using the bigger leagues, especially when the European seasons start back up soon, you should still be okay. But I'm very interested to know what you guys think of this, whether or not you think it's just worthwhile going in for the full-time one because of that activity in the early second halves, or whether you think it's worthwhile switching over the half-time one if you're confident you've got a method that provides a good strike rate. Now I'm going to keep this going. Like I said, we're going to come back to it in the middle of September and we're going to take a look at how this looks after 3 months worth of trades. We're hopefully going to have a couple hundred results to show you. It's also going to allow us to know about the layouts, the statistics we can use pre-match. I'm keeping track of everything I possibly can, so hopefully we'll have that in a few months' time. I know a lot of you guys always say I do some strategies and I don't do them for long enough. Well, like I said, in September we're literally going to be doing a laying the court for 3 months, we're going to be doing a laying the draw for 3 months, and we'll be doing it under 2.5 goals for 3 months. So we're going to have a lot of that. I hope you understand why it's taken a while, because it's going to take a long time to gather all the data. But hopefully look forward to that video. I'll see you in the next video.